Happy Monday, Julian here, and welcome back to another episode of Webflow Weekly. And it has been pretty crazy. Last week's episode was full of stuff. Some other stuff happened after last week's episode, which I made more videos about. So anyways, it is jam-packed. A whole bunch of new features have been coming out, a whole bunch of new clonables. And this week we're also going to cover a really cool Webflow app, which I have no association with. I don't know them, but it's really cool, and it's something I've heard a lot of people asking for. So let's get right into it now. So, first things first, this was announced last Monday, right after the last episode was filmed. Real-time collaboration is here for Webflow. What does that mean? Well, let me just zoom right into this picture and show you. We can see Cecile over here, Warren over here, Janice over here, and they're all working on the same page at the same time. This has been something that has been so heavily requested in the Webflow community, and I gotta say, I think Webflow is really listening to us with all of these new features that have been coming out lately. I mean, what more can be said about this? Go to the link in the description to find this announcement and watch the full video by Webflow on real-time collaboration. But what this means is that you and your team are going to be able to finish projects faster and smoother by working on them at the same time. No more having to hand over design control, and if you're a Webflow veteran like me, no more getting kicked out of your Webflow account when someone else goes onto the site. So anyways, what more can I say? I am super happy about that. The next thing that we have over here is something that is kind of silly why it wasn't already here. That being said, thank you, Webflow. That is this. When you are adding link blocks, links, whatever it is, you can search for pages. I cannot tell you how many times I've been working on sites which have over 50, 75, 100 pages, and every time I add a link, I have to scroll through this long list of pages. Why was there no search? I don't know, but Webflow has answered that question now, which means finally you can actually search for pages while adding links. So Webflow, thank you for that one. That gets me really excited. So that is all we have this week for Webflow features. I mean, we also have the new GSAP interactions, which have been released recently, but we've already covered those. Webflow Cloud is now out of beta. There's a whole bunch of stuff going on. But anyways, moving on to the clonables for this week. So this week we have some really great templates. We have 4 templates to be specific, and then we're going to move on to that Webflow app that I mentioned. So first one we have here is Edukuthir. I hope I'm saying that right. Let me know. And this is an education and e-learning website template, and it is beautiful. So I'm just going to open this, scroll down so you can check it out. Really nice layout here, really nice animations. We have some nice tabs over here. I assume these are either e-commerce or CMS based. The homepage is absolutely beautiful, and I think there's more pages here as well. Tripped up on that one. Yeah, okay, so we also have an about page, which again is also quite nice. This little progress thing going on over here. Some awards. I really like this call to action. So there's actually courses here. And again, this seems to be Webflow e-commerce, if I'm not wrong. No. Okay. That being said, it's a layout that you can easily turn into an e-commerce site. So this is a pretty complete template. Let's go ahead and pop it open in Webflow to see what we're working with. Alrighty, so I'm seeing page wrapper, BG line wrap. That is all well and good. So this is not client first. This appears to be the Webflow marketplace class naming, which again, in my opinion, I prefer client first, but this is clearly very well organized, and that is really all that matters. Let's go ahead and check it out on mobile too. Looks just as good on mobile. I mean, there's this over here, but that's one thing. Clients often like to do this. They will take your site and put it on some ridiculous screen. Like this is maybe 240 pixels. Nobody's actually going to be looking at that. I mean, yes, you want to have it fully responsive for all screen sizes, but is there a limit in terms of what's reasonable? Because again, here we have, for example, iPhone 6, and it's fine. iPhone 12 mini, and it's fine. I would maybe drop the size of this by just a little bit. This it says fan fact. I think they meant fun fact, but anyways, let's go ahead and make it 14. And this is probably going to be a little bit more suited. Maybe drop the gap over here. I would do 16 just to make it a little bit more, as it needs to be for mobile. Yeah. Okay. See, that looks pretty good. And again, it only starts to become a problem once you get down to like iPod touch width. And I mean, let's be real. Are we really making websites for people who are on their iPod touch in 2025? I'm not. So anyways, beautiful site over here. Let's see all the pages we have. So there's home, there's about, there's courses, there's instructors, there's testimonial, there's blog, there's contact, and some template info in here with the style guide. You got a courses template, you got a blogs template. So that is awesome. Edukuthir template by Edukuthir. Let's go ahead and check out their profile because I don't think I've seen them before. Okay, so they are in New Mexico in the US, and actually their other site is the next thing that we're going to be featuring in this episode. So thank you to Edukuthir. Let me know in the comments how you say that one. And now I'm going to move over to the Srift template, which is also by them. So I'm going to go ahead and open the live site over here. And again, we can see a beautifully designed site. This looks like it should be a premium template, but you can get it completely for free. Really smooth lines, crisp looking template. What more can I say? This is the homepage here. We also have a blog template. Don't mind things loading slowly. That's just my internet. And again, this is a super, super complete template. One recommendation I have is use an SVG logo because this is very blurry and it would just make the whole template feel a lot better. But anyways, let's go ahead and pop it open in Webflow. I assume we are going to have something similar. Yep, page wrapper. We got main. All very nicely named sections, not client first. But again, that is all down to your personal preference. We got all sorts of pages here: home, about, service, blog, team, contact, services template, and blogs template. So really awesome template here by Edukuthir. Another one. Thank you for the template. The next thing that we're going to move on to over here is a template, Cloneable, actually, which I believe is a copy of a real website by Milos Milanovic. And I actually met him at FlowConf. Really cool dude, really talented dude. So, you know, this is no different. And this is actually the most cloned project of the week. It's been less than a week since this was launched, and it has 43 clones, which is friggin' awesome. And I'm about to show you why. I think that's going to be super clear. So let's just take a look at how beautiful this site here is. I don't even know what kind of assets these are that allow you to get this crazy looking light pouring down onto it. It is just beautiful. So let's just go ahead and scroll through this. There's all sorts of micro interactions, as you can see over here. I think if I hover over this one too, you can see something. These micro interactions are just amazing. When I see sites like this, first of all, I'm like, oh, geez, how long did that take to both design and develop? Don't know if I could possibly do that. That just sounds like a lot of time. That being said, this, again, Milos here did not design this site, I'm pretty sure. That being said, he did develop it. Whoever designed this site out there, pat yourself on the back because you are insane. This is just such a beautiful site, these assets. And one thing I want to say to all of the freelancers out here is if your client wants a beautiful site, they better work with you to get some killer assets, because back in my career when I was a freelancer, I often remember clients showing sites, for example, like this, and they would say, you know, we want it to look this good. But they didn't want to take the time to actually send the assets to work with us to try and craft the journey. And so it doesn't matter how good of a designer or a developer you are, if your client isn't willing to work with you, you're never going to get a site that's quite this beautiful. Everything about this site is just amazing. And that's one thing that I love about the Webflow Showcase is the people who just clone existing sites to show what can be done with Webflow. People who've cloned Apple sites. This one is insane. I would say this one is as good, if not better, than, for example, the AirPods site. This is all text. This is not an image. Okay, excellent. I'm really excited to open this one up in Webflow and see how this stuff was like. How was this done? I've been using Webflow for over 7 years, and I don't even know how this was done. Can you type in here? No. Okay. Again, beautiful, beautiful design. Then we got our friend Milos right over here. Hey, Milos, how you doing? Okay, so now let's go ahead and open this in Webflow and see what we are working with. So, alrighty, what is this? How did it? How can I access blend image? Is this a GIF? Wow. Oh, wow. There are layers and layers and layers to this, man. Jeez. I just want to know where this, I don't know if I'm going to be able to find it. I don't know if I'm going to be able to find it. That is crazy. This is an embed, actually. Interesting. Interesting. Okay. Here we have an image. That makes perfect sense. These are all different images, are they? Or is this a background image? What do we actually have going on over here? Okay, so yes, there's a background image and then there's a gradient mask over top of it. These are animations? Do these have background images? What are these? This just goes to show, I mean, how challenging it is to build stuff like that. Like, I can't even figure out how this was done, and I'm looking at it in Webflow actively. This is a video call here with a Dropbox link. Awesome, awesome, awesome. This is just so cool. This entire site is so cool. How is this done too? Is this also a background image? No, it doesn't seem to be. I mean, these inverted corners, these are friggin' beautiful. This right here, how is this highlighting thing done? I don't know how any of this was done. Clearly, Milos is much better than I am at Webflow. I'm a web app guy. If a client approached me and wanted a website like this, I would say, no, I am not worthy to create such a website. I would send them to Milos. Anyways, Milos, awesome site. Just a perfect example of the crazy stuff that you could do in Webflow. Amazing, amazing. And moving on, we have our last template, and this one is actually made by Flow Bookings, which is the web app or Webflow app that I want to show you about after. So this here is a spa booking template, and this is the kind of thing where if you get a client who has a spa, you can literally show them this website, say, hey, do you like it? Well, I can make it yours for like a couple $100, and you can save the client a lot of money. You can make that client love you. That's one thing I think a lot of people are focused on. How do I make my project bigger? How do I make the scope bigger? I don't think you should ever be doing that. I think you should be looking at how can I make the scope smaller? How can I save the client as much money as possible? And then hopefully that client is going to want to pay you more to do other things and to work on more projects. Always try to get work done for your client as cheaply as possible. Treat your client's money like it's your money, not just like there's some infinite bank account, because they're a business with numbers too. And if they can tell that you're really watching how to save them money, they're going to love you. You're going to make more money with that client than if you, let's say, go, no, I'm not going to use a template. I'm going to make you a whole site from scratch. If it's some massive, massive spa, for example, then of course they want their own brand identity. They want something like that. What was it called? Huli. They want something like this, if it's some massive, massive company. But if it's just, a local spa or something like that, they just probably want a nice looking website. They don't care if it's some crazy custom animated jazz. They just want something nice. And this site right here, I think, could be used for pretty much any spa. Now, let's go ahead and open this in Webflow so we can see how it's built, and you can find out if you would want to use this template. Like for me, I would be looking at, does it use client first? Because it's just what I'm used to. I've said this about 1,000 times on this series, but I will die on this boat. So, okay, this is client first. We got main wrapper, we got section hero, we got section service, padding global, container large. This is looking, now the only thing that I don't think they did, this looks like client first, but I'm not seeing many underscores. It's just service dash content wrapper. So I would go ahead and fix that if I were using this template. Are they using the client first style guide though? Yes, they are. Okay, so that's the most important thing to me. Again, this homepage, I can go ahead and change it to be like this should probably be hero underscore heading. So if you don't know how client first works, it essentially, in a nutshell, I mean, the FinSuite team could explain it better than I could, but what you do for custom classes is you have a folder. So let's say over here, we have section service. This right here, that would mean service, which should be section service. There you go. And then we have all sorts of utility classes in client first, like padding global, container large, which are pre-built for you and make your life so much better. And then this would be, for example, service underscore main wrapper. So if you see what I did here, what I did is I actually have section underscore service. And then service underscore main wrapper. And everything else that's in this service section that's a custom class, I would name service underscore something. And that is essentially putting it into a folder. So you're saying this is the main wrapper that is used for service, which is like a group of classes. And it helps to keep everything way more organized. And if you're using the FinSuite Chrome extension, then you will actually be able to see, reorganize, reorder, and rename your folders, which it's just such a great way of building. I think that FinSuite, when they built Client First, they built a class naming system that's made for Webflow instead of just trying to use, for example, classic, like what people do with Tailwind, because at the end of the day, Webflow isn't code. What is a good class naming system for code might not be a good class naming system for Webflow. And I just think the FinSuite team with Client First hit the nail on the head. I absolutely love it. That's why I use it in all these projects. So anyways, moving on, what you can see here in this template is a booking form. So I'm going to go ahead and try it out right now and say Julian. Okay, spelled my own last name wrong. Wonderful. Let's just type in random stuff to save everyone's time. That looks like a phone number. Body and massage, holistic medical massage, selected date. Okay, so we got this nice looking date selector. I wonder if you can customize that in Webflow. And then let's go ahead and do 4 p.m. additional message. Howdy. Book appointment. Let's see what happens. Okay. So this says, thank you, your submission has been received. So I'm not sure what happens in the back end because this just kind of looks like a standard Webflow form. That being said, flowbookings.io, the reason why I wanted to share this with you is because I've had people ask me in person on the internet everywhere, do you know a good way that I can add bookings to a Webflow site? So for example, if your client is like an Airbnb owner and they want to make custom sites for their Airbnbs, how would they manage bookings on a Webflow site? I have never seen a good solution to that, and clearly that is what Flow Bookings here is at least trying to attack. I haven't used it, so I'm not going to go ahead and endorse Flow Bookings and say it's great, but it looks like they are aware of this problem that people have, and it can be edited in Webflow. So I'm going to go ahead and try out this little demo here. So you would launch the Flow Bookings app. You can display a service, express glow facial, let's say, make it horizontal, copy, paste it, and then you have this beautiful looking, what seems to be fully editable in Webflow booking form. Book appointment. And then on the back end, it seems like you can see that in a calendar, which is awesome. You can approve, reject it, see your customers. So it's like a booking CRM built for Webflow, which is really awesome. And from their site, it says that you can use it with Stripe, which is awesome. You can do offline payments. You can do Stripe. Zero commissions is absolutely awesome. So this is a really cool tool, I would say, Flow Bookings. I'm interested to hear in the comments if anyone has tried it and if it lives up to the expectations. That being said, they have a really nice website. They clearly are aware of the problem that I was talking about, and they built a product for the sole purpose of fixing that. So to the Flow Booking team, that is awesome. And to everyone else in the Webflow community, that is a kind of thing right there. I mean, hey, let's say a while ago when all these people asked me about a good booking system for Webflow, what if I decided to make one? That could have been a successful product today. And so now, with the rise in AI and the fact that we can all code in some way, shape, or form, if you haven't ever coded anything, go to Lovable and just try to build something. It's crazy. Like, I let my wife do it. I've seen people who just have no idea how to code anything build in Lovable. But anyways, the point is you can actually build really cool stuff now. So keep your ear open to the market, see what people are looking for, and maybe you, like Flow Bookings, can make a really cool app that the community loves. So anyways, that was this week in Webflow. I'll see you next week for another episode of Webflow Weekly.